Good evening, everyone. I think we're ready to call the meeting to order. We're ready to begin. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. We are live on KCLV Channel 2, and this meeting will be rebroadcast Saturday at 10 a.m., the following Monday at midnight, Tuesday at 5 a.m., and Thursday at 6 p.m. Would everyone please stand and join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please read the roll call?
Chair Trowbridge.
Present.
Vice Chair Truesdale.
Present.
Commissioner Goins.
Present.
Commissioner Evans.
Present.
Commissioner Quinn.
Here.
Commissioner Ellsworth.
Here.
Commissioner Buckley.
Present.
We have a quorum. I would like to call your attention to the information printed in your agenda concerning our actions and the appeal and review process, if applicable. Please read this carefully, and if you have any questions, staff is available. Also, the second page of the agenda contains our rules of conduct. We appreciate you adhering to these rules so that we can have a smooth meeting. Thank you. Okay, now we move on to the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the January 22nd, 2009 Planning Commission meeting?
Mr.
Chairman, before you vote on that, I will be abstaining as I was excused for that particular meeting.
Thank you.
And I'm the same, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, with those abstentions, I make a motion for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Motion passes. Let's move on to our housekeeping items. Are there any items that the commissioners, staff, applicants, or members of the public would like to pull forward for action?
Mr. Chairman, good evening. Items number 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. The applicant has requested that these items be held in abeyance to the April 9th, 2009 Planning Commission meeting, as they are currently working on revising the site. Items number 15 and 16. The applicant has requested that these items be tabled.
Thank you.
Well, there's
more?
items number 19 and 20. The applicant has requested that these items be withdrawn without prejudice. And items number 34, 35, 36, and 37. The applicant has requested that these items be held in abeyance to the March 12, 2009 Planning Commission meeting to address outstanding issues. Thank you.
Okay. In regards to item 15 and 16, is there anyone in attendance regarding those items? If not, I hope they're at home watching on TV. Those particular items relate to a request for variances relating to signage. The owners of the properties currently have other properties that have violation of those signs of Title 19, and I would hope that they would get those violations corrected before they come forward and ask for additional variances. Sir?
I'm Bob Feibelman with Nevada Hand. We want to obey items 23, 24, and 25 and reschedule for March 26th.
Okay. And why would that request be? Or?
We've got some issues with a couple of the conditions that need to be worked out with staff.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, Shane Hennessy, York 7030 Smoke Ranch Road. Would like to hold item 22 to the March 12th meeting for reasons that we're still trying to make sure that we can't co-locate to any other existing facilities that are nearby.
Thank you. It's 22. Okay, and we've got...
So everybody's here for one or two items, right?
35. Okay, so what we have pulled is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and 16, 19 and 20, 22, 25, 31, and 37, 23 and 24 also. Not 27? Nobody said. I said 37, 35, 36, and 37.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if there are no other comments, I move that we bring those items forward and approve as requested.
Mr. Chairman, once again, before we vote, it's my hope that when these come forward, that some of these issues can be worked out so that we don't end up with people here unnecessarily, and that we can do the business of the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I think the clerk said you may have excluded number 34. We'll include that also in Commissioner.
34 is excluded also?
Correct. That should be included to be held to 3:12.
Okay, very good. That's what I was pulling that one out. Okay. Okay, we have a motion regarding the change to the agendas. Does anyone wish to speak on any of these items that are being pulled? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion on the housekeeping items?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the motion is to bring those forward and approve as requested.
Thank you. Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Thank you. Okay. Good grief. Okay, next we go on to there is no consent item, so we go to the one motion, one vote item. Item number 6 is a RQR 32901. The applicant owner is Sun Investments LLC. It's required review for an existing 55-foot tall non-conforming off-premise sign to be raised to a height of 85 feet, which is 60 feet above the freeway grade, where 30 feet above the grade is the maximum height allowed, and to allow the sign to be distance of 520 feet from an existing off-premise sign and 30 feet from an R design zoning district, where 750 feet and 300 feet are the minimum separation distance required at 616 H Street. Item number 7 is an RQR 32902. The applicant is Clear Channel Outdoors, Inc. The owner is Willick Investments. Required review for a 40-foot tall, 14 by 48-foot off-premise sign at 3551 East Bonanza Road. Item number 8 is special use permit 32992. The applicant is Neapoli Pizzeria, owner PK II Sahara Pavilion North LLC, for a beer wine cooler on sale establishment within an existing 2,015 square foot restaurant at 4760 West Sahara Avenue, suite number 11. And item number 9 is SDR 33009. The applicant owner is Canyon Gate Country Club for proposed 1,620 square foot fitness room addition to an existing 30,808 square foot country club clubhouse at 2001 Canyon Gate Drive. Staff?
Mr. Chairman, staff would like to pull item number 9 as a clarification on a
yes.
condition.
We have a motion on 6, 7, and 8, please.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve one motion, one vote items 6, 7, and 8, subject to all staff's recommendations and conditions.
Motion's been made. We have someone, please.
On the,
Name?
this is public hearing, right?
What
I want to
county
know
is-
on 6 and 7 if they're keeping these signs nice. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, they
I
are.
rode by and looked at item 6, which is right off of Bonanza and H Street, and the sign was intact.
Okay, we know that gentleman, but in the future, when you come up to speak, would you please write down on one of the sign-up sheets your name and address for the record so that it's easier for the clerk to keep track of who's speaking. Okay, now we can move to item number 9. Oh, please cast your vote then on items 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Motion's made. Cast your votes. Thank you.
Those all go forward to council on April 1st.
What? Now we have item number 9, please.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed addition
Is that
to an existing clubhouse conforms to the development standards of the Title 19, and staff is recommending approval. Staff would like to amend condition number 1, if approved, as submitted to the clerk as follows. Conformance to the conditions of rezoning Z-0097-86 and variance V-001-89, if approved. Please note additional letters of support have been received after the publishing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open now. Anyone wishing to speak on item number 9?
Ben Wood, General Manager, Kennygate Country Club. We approve the amendment that's been put forward.
Thank you, sir. And would you give us your name and address in writing? Okay, I'd like to declare the public hearing closed now and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no comments, make a motion for approval subject to all staff's conditions and the approved condition, or the amended condition.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
And that is final action in the absence of an appeal within 10 days.
Okay. We now move to item number 17 and related items 18, 19, and 20.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we need
19's
to
been
state
pulled.
the dispositions of 6, 7, and 8, Margot.
I did.
Oh, did you? Oh,
I did.
sorry. Wait.
I'll leave that.
Okay. Has 19 been pulled?
No, 17, 18, yeah, just those two.
Just 17, 18, 19's been pulled? Okay. Okay. Okay, so now item number 17 is zoning 33-283. The applicant owner is Marcus Nave from C2, General Commercial 2, R3, Medium Density Residential at the southeast corner of C Street and Jackson Avenue. And item number 18 is variance 32-541 to allow a 5-foot side yard setback where 10 feet is required, to allow 11-foot corner yard side yard setback where 15 feet is required, and to allow a 10-foot rear yard setback where 20 feet is required. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed rezoning of the site to R3 medium density residential is in conformance with the existing general plan designation of MXU mixed use and is also in line with the recommendations of the West Las Vegas plan. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of the rezoning application. In regards to the variance, it should be noted that the request has been amended to reflect a request to allow a 10-foot rear yard setback where 20 feet is required only. The variance is warranted as the lot depth is limited and therefore presents a unique hardship. Therefore, staff is recommending approval. Please note additional letters of protest and support have been received after the publishing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open now for the applicant.
Hi, my name is Sean Logan, representative of Marcus Nave. Thanks for hearing me. Just got here in the nick of time, it looks like. Anyways, yes, everything, sat down with staff review last time, reviewed the problems, obviously, with this lot being zoned where it was before, and Marcus Nave, the client, is more than happy to have it rezoned R3, and so are the people that spoke up at last Planning Commission that were opposed to commercial zoning in their neighborhood, which is mostly what their neighborhood is zoned anyways, but, you know, they would all be, and I believe one in court, if any of them are here to stand up to be happy to see this parcel go back to residential zoning. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
How are you this evening?
Good, thanks.
Good. I happened to ride by there again this morning. While I applaud the effort of changing this to R3, where I think it is needed, I still have some concerns with the size of the structure. It says you want to put a mixed-use development. If this is residential, why are you requesting to go mixed-use on the? And second of all, I believe you're requesting a 2-story building.
You know, the abeyance should have been for the request for the special use permit and for the mixed use. We have no reason to ask for a mixed use at this point. So no, this is strictly going back to a residential house. And actually, since we have submitted these plans to you guys recently, Mr. Nave is more than happy to put a single-story residence back on this home and not worry about making it a 2-story as well. So we plan to propose drawings that will go into the building department as a single-story residence. The size of it is, again, only 1,600 square feet of what the footprint is for only a 3,500 square foot lot. So we're certainly still under a 50% lot coverage, and that's where the 10-foot setback on the rear yard is very important as to the 20, because that only gives us a 1,200 square foot footprint, which is rather small in a sense. So we're really just trying to get a little bit more footprint to put a little larger home on there. But no reason for the mixed use anymore. That should have all been done away with.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Ready for a motion?
On item 17, ZON 33283, move for approval, subject to all staff's recommendations and conditions.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 18.
Move for approval of item 18, subject to all staff's recommendations and conditions.
If I may, Chairman and Commissioner, just to have the conditions correspond to the submittal that we have before us, staff would recommend 2 additional conditions. One is that only the rear yard setback as noticed is approved, and that the development shall be in conformance with the submitted plans, date stamped 2/26/09.
With the addition of those conditions, a motion's been made. All in favor? Or just cast your votes, please. Motions. Thank you.
Both matters go forward to the City Council on April 1st.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you hear that? That goes on to City Council April 1st?
Excuse me?
All matters go on to City Council April the 1st.
Okay,
And did sign the sheet down there if you would, please.
okay.
Did you? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, actually, on the conditions, we need to make a change to that. It should be the plan's date stamped February 3rd, 2009, on the condition for the variance. If we could make a correction to that and revote, so we need to rescind and then revote that item.
Okay. Make a motion to rescind the vote on item number 18. Motion's made. Please cast your vote. Opposed?
Stay here. I'm sorry, what?
There should be a
The motion's
sign-in
been
sheet right there.
Oh.
Please sign that. Thank you.
Now we can make a motion again for item number 18 with the amended amendment.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve item 18,
Amended condition.
abeyance VAR 32541, subject to all standard conditions, and the as amended conditions is read in by Mr. Rankin.
Motion's made. Please cast your vote. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Now we move to item number 21. It's RQR 31809. The applicant owner is Carol Pappas. Required review for a 30-foot tall, 14 by 48-foot off, 40-foot off-premise sign at 840 North Rancho. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, there have been no significant changes in the surrounding area and land use or development. Staff recommends approval.
I'd like to declare the public hearing open now. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak, please approach the microphone and sign the document. And on behalf of the applicant, we have
Ryan Arnold, 2620 Regatta Drive, here representing CBS Outdoor. First, I just want to thank the board for allowing us at the last meeting to hold this. That allowed me to work with staff and get the application in properly and get the board cleaned up. And I think we're all set. So I want to thank staff for the recommendation for approval, and I'd like to ask the board for the same.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open now. And if anyone in attendance wishes to speak on the matter, please approach the mic and give your name. And
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. The applicant just said that he took the time to clean the board up. So does that mean that this board was in bad shape or something? And the other thing is, why wasn't this on the one, if it wasn't in good shape and everything, why wasn't it on the one motion, one vote? The thing is, my point is this. I don't want these people coming up here at the last moment and then cleaning up the sign and then letting it go for another 5 years without any upkeep. That's the problem. Thank you.
point well taken.
I don't know if this man did it or not. I'm just saying.
Thanks, Todd.
Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to the planning commissioners for discussion. Possible motion.
Mr. Farlow, I went out and looked at that one. That one sits between the Winchell's and the Wendy's on the east side of Rancho, and I was going to compliment you on the content on both sides of that sign. It seemed to be appropriate, and it looked pretty attractive. So, for today, that is. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, move for approval of item 21, RQR 31809, subject to all staff's recommendations and conditions.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Opposed? Motion carries.
Goes on to council April 1st.
Thank you.
We've now moved to item number 26, which is zoning 32974. The applicant owner is the City of Las Vegas from R4 High Density Residential and C2 General Commercial, R4 High Density Residential to C2 General Commercial on 5.01 acres generally located between Las Vegas Boulevard and 8th Street between Stewart Avenue and US 95. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed rezoning of the subject parcels to a general commercial zoning district is in conformance with the general plan and will be compatible with the surrounding area. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of this application. Please note additional letters of support have been received after the publishing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on these matters, please come forward and state your name for the record. Come on down.
Good evening. It's my first time.
Very
My
good.
name is Donna Kuderi,
Yeah, you speak
property
there.
owner of 509 North 8th Street, regarding this rezoning, and I really just wanted to say I support it. I don't know if it was necessary for me to come up
It's
here.
always appropriate.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank
Yes.
you very much for your input. Would you sign the little sheet that's supposed to be down there? I can't see it.
This one right here, sir?
Yes, please. Thank you for your input. Anybody else wishing to speak on the matter? City's the
When will we know?
In about 5 seconds, hopefully, if Mr. Farley doesn't speak
Yes,
too long.
Thank you. Todd
Thank
Farley.
you.
Thank you.
Todd Farley, 240 North 19th Street. What are they going to put in here? Does anyone know? Is it,
There is no proof.
there's no.
project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. No one else to speak on the matter. I'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no more discussion, I'd move for approval of item 26, ZON 32974, subject to all staff's recommendations and conditions.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Thank you. Motion carries. There's your answer, ma'am.
Council April 1st.
We now move to item number 27 and related items number 28 and 29. 27 is zoning 33021. The applicant is Casino Center Midrise LLC, owner Mythic Management LLC, from R4 High Density Residential to C2 General Commercial at the southwest corner of Colorado Avenue and Casino Center Boulevard. Item number 28 is special use permit 33020 for proposed mixed-use development. And item number 29 is site development review 33019 for proposed four-story, 48.5-foot tall mixed-use development consisting of 60 residential units and 1,920 square feet of commercial space with a waiver of the downtown Centennial Plan streetscape requirements and to allow no underground power lines. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain on these items as much as I own property within the notice area.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, our firm has done work for the principals of the company, and I'm going to abstain as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the proposed development is consistent with the Downtown Centennial Plan and Title 19 requirements, and therefore staff recommends approval of the related items.
Thank you. Now declare the public hearing open. On behalf of the applicant, we have
Grant Garcia, 714 South 4th Street, Cherry Development.
Ryan Stebor, 714 South 4th Street, Cherry Development.
This portion's for public hearing?
Yes.
Public, oh, yeah, it's not on this side.
Yeah.
And would you care to explain the project, or?
I thought you were addressing the public hearing. I apologize. Sam Cherry, Cherry Development, 900 South Las Vegas Boulevard.
Thank you.
We are bringing forward a 60-unit apartment complex. This is located in the Arts District. It's a workforce housing project. Going out to different banks has been very difficult to find any bank to talk to us. We've found a funding mechanism through a HUD product. It's going to be a prevailing wage project. We agree with all conditions, with the exception, we have a question on number 23 in the SDR. which is sign and record the covenant running with the land agreement for the possible future installation of all underground power lines. Our concern with this is that the economics of the deal are so thin as they stand that this would just, if the wind blows the wrong way, it doesn't look like it works. However, we've met with RDA and Business Development to bring forward a TIF application which would include the power lines in that application. So we're requesting if we could have that condition number 23 removed. And here to answer any questions about the project.
Thank you. The public hearing is open. I'll entertain comments from the public and give staff a chance to think about item number 23 before they respond. So anyone else in attendance wishing to speak on that item? These items, all three of them, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Dick Geyer, 8260 Hilton Head Court, president of 18B, the Las Vegas Arts District Neighborhood Association. And I'm speaking in a sense on behalf of Cindy Funkhauser, whose property is directly across the street. Cindy's not here tonight. She had open heart surgery about a week ago, but she's fine. We are very, very happy, all of us, Cindy and Rick, her husband, and 18B, to have a development in the Arts District. And we hope that the city can find a way to help these gentlemen make it a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Farlow,
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. I concur with what the last gentleman just said. I wish them the best. But what I would like to know, do they have a street? Are we going to continue this streetscape where they have the wide sidewalks with some trees and stuff in there? We were going to promote this as a walking, pedestrian friendly, or whatever they call that. And is this included in that? I'd like to know.
If I may, we did the first, the city completed, it is on, I'm so soft-spoken, The city completed the first phase of the sidewalks, and then when the ACE system goes through, there will be more sidewalks, and as money comes available, that is our top priority in that area.
Thank you. Sir?
Bruce Ruger, 10652 Hillett Court, Las Vegas. I'm opposed to this project because of the very limited parking proposed. The proposal provides only 40% of the parking requirement required by your building code. As such, it's going to preclude future development in the area because this project is going to flood the streets with on-street parking, which will adversely affect businesses in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn it over to the applicant to respond to those comments, and looking forward to hearing what the staff has to say about the condition number 23 at some point.
One thing with the continuity of the landscape that the gentleman brought up, we would gladly conform with the landscaping that is just to the north of us next to the Funk House. It ends right at the Funk House. Currently we're showing palm trees, which I believe is in the plan, but we'd gladly go to the existing shade trees so we can keep that continuity. We think that's important as well. With regard to parking, it's been very difficult to bring any mid-rise project forward in downtown in the past, specifically because land prices have been so high and the economics don't work at all. It's a different market today, and it's getting much closer. Our focus, based off what we've seen in the last two projects we've developed, we're going after people that want to live and work specifically in downtown. For example, the door people at Soho Lofts, wonderful people. Over the years, they've asked me, Sam, when are we going to have a place you're going to build that we can live in? They currently, some of them take the bus right now to work, some of them walk to work. That's the perfect candidate for this project. There's I believe, 22 stalls missing that would satisfy one for every unit. We feel extremely confident that we can find 22 people to fill the units that live and work in the downtown neighborhood that would walk to where they work. And that's all I have as far as parking.
Thank you. Now, staff, would someone care to respond to the request for the waiver of condition number 23, or the deletion of 23?
Lucian Pyatt, Public Works. We're in favor of the condition because we're looking for an equitable way that the undergrounding of the utilities can be done, and we thought the covenant was the best way to go. It seems that we don't have a funding source at all for a future plan to do this, and this allows us to assess all the properties if a project comes through, and it's fair for all.
And if I could just tag on to that, what we're saying is that we understand that a single individual builder, it would be very difficult for them to underground the power adjacent to their site and then leave it above ground everywhere else. So we want to allow them the ability to not do that until we have a project that can put it all underground at once. The covenant allows us to defer that until that happens, and then everybody can participate in whatever mechanism we find to do that. We would recommend that the condition remain because it doesn't specifically say on this date you will do that, but it does require them to continue to work with us until such a project can come to pass.
Good. Are there any prohibitions against the requirement to underground the utilities being put into someone's a purchase agreement that has a condition that at such time when the city wishes to underground the utilities, that the owners of the 60 individual units would be responsible for the financial support of that? Can we do that? Any prohibition?
If I may, the responsibility for the public improvements, which undergrounding is, of course, falls to the developer, not individual buyers or are these good? These are rentals.
Yes.
Rentals, right. So it would fall to the developer. However, Mr. Cherry's indicated that he wants to continue working with our Office of Business Development on this. It would be Planning Department's recommendation to keep the condition the way it's written. With regard to the land use decision before the Commission tonight, that is an appropriate condition with regard to this project. If between now and the City Council, Mr. Cherry works with the Office of Business Development and then there's some fine-tuning of that language, that would certainly be fine. But the way it's written right now does not preclude any future agreement or negotiation that they may have with any office of the city.
Okay.
If I may, Chairman, one thought I have is that knowing that we're going to be looking at a TIF application and knowing that that would be part of the TIF application, instead of having a signed covenant agreement, could it just be a condition, a revised condition that says the utilities adjacent to the site will be put underground? In that way, I mean, it just, we know the economics of the project, we know what it's going to take to get it done, and our concern is that, let's say something else happens to the economy and the project doesn't move forward. Well, that covenant is still locked with the land. I guess that's our concern.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Please.
Yes, the covenant runs with the land. If it is not, if you do not construct the improvements right now, then that obligation stays with that property in perpetuity until such time as you do comply, once the city says we'd like those improvements done now. So it would remain with the land. However, if you wanted to put them underground, the covenant does not require you to put off that. It gives you the opportunity to defer it, but you could certainly do it if you wanted to.
But defer it before we are able to issue permits to construct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
So as far as
I think what Bart is saying, that if you change the condition to require you to underground it now, that would be required prior to pulling building permit. You'd have to underground before you pull building permit.
That is correct. The condition now just says you need to enter into a covenant agreement before you pull permits. The covenant agreement then can say sometime in the future, do these improvements.
Because if you're going to do them, if you're going to underground it now, you're going to be more restricted on the property. You will not be able to put building permits until you underground the utilities.
Okay, and I appreciate that. That makes sense. Well, I guess the only other thing I can add is maybe it's done prior to certificate of occupancy on the project instead of issuance of a building permit. And if that can't work, and I understand why, I'd have to agree with Planning Director Wheeler's comment that we try to work it out before the actual City Council.
Yeah, I think that we're not going to solve it at the microphone now, so I think it's appropriate that we go ahead and take action. If you have a suggested solution to item number 23, bring it forward to staff and work it out before it goes to the City Council for consideration.
Okay.
And in regards to the comments about the parking, part of the parking issue with these downtown properties is to encourage live, work in the same area, and walk. And so when someone comes in and wants to rent one of these units, they would know that there's limited number of parking spaces. And the thought would be that people that elect to rent one of these units would not have a vehicle. And that's the goal, is to cut down on traffic and pollution. So it's all part of the thought that have gone into some of these designs in the downtown area. So if there's no further discussion, we have one.
Yes, I have a couple of comments. First of all, I want to thank Mr. Cherry and his group. I emailed the representative today, and I spoke with the staff about this as a matter of full disclosure. As you look out on the horizon of the downtown, Mr. Cherry's buildings actually came out of the ground and are being occupied, and I really appreciate that. The other issue is the smaller scale of this project, given this economy. I know it was entitled once before for, I think, a 30-some story high-rise, and this seems so much more doable and practical, and the consensus seems to be, Mr. Cherry, that you have your pulse on the economy and build things that actually will sell. So in that regard, I want to thank you. The issue that I have is less about the nuances of the undergrounding of the utilities, because I think the way the condition is written allows you at some point in the future, as other development occurs, that you will commit to doing that. And it doesn't have a timeline, so I think there's a certain amount of discretion how you achieve that. And I would concur with the planning director that perhaps it's something that you can work out between now and the City Council with the Office of Business Development or whomever. But the streetscape thing, and I think I heard you say that you'd be happy to work with the staff in providing that connectivity from the streetscape to the north. And if the plan calls for palm trees here, it would be my hope that whatever the species of trees that provide the canopy that are to the north of the site, all down Casino Center, that you could mimic that and mirror it, so that as you go down Casino Center, at some point in time as these trees mature, it would be a nice tree-lined boulevard with a shade canopy and encourage that pedestrian activity that we want. And the chairman mentioned also the Centennial Plan in terms of the parking requirements, because the gentleman who spoke talked about Title 19 and its parking requirements. And generally speaking, I'm in support of that, except for that the Centennial Plan, I think, carves out the exception in anticipation of hoping that you wouldn't have significant parking requirements downtown, so that you would have that kind of pedestrian activity. But I wanted to say one other thing about this project, and I think you have another one later on the agenda. The concern that the arts community, I think, has had, and Mr. Geiger would probably concur, many of these proposals and high-rises and luxury condos have basically priced all the artist-type people out of the market. And the concern has always been that you have an arts district without artists. I think this project would be the perfect opportunity for some struggling young artists to be able to rent a property and perhaps display their work in one of the nearby galleries. And one day, I think it would add to the whole art scene. which in turn, I think, spurs the economy. So I really do applaud you, and I've always been passionate about the fact that I think we need artists living in the Arts District and creating art. And in my mind, this is the perfect opportunity. So I would be absolutely flexible about the condition number 23, but I would see what my colleagues say. But I wanted to thank you and your partners for creating this product, which I think is a perfect fit given our economy and given the Arts District.
Thank you for the kind words.
Any other comments? Any other comments? Okay, we're ready for a motion.
I'm ready to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, for approval of agenda item number 27, zoning 33021.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Motion carries.
Agenda item number 28, the special use permit 33020. My motion would be for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Carries. Item 29.
And then agenda item number 29, the site development review 33019. I would make a motion for approval, and at this time, leave condition number 23 as it exists in hopes that between now and the City Council, you can find some alternative solutions or tweaking of that, of the wording of that. And then if you can, is there a condition, Ms. Wheeler, or is there a condition with regard to the streetscape?
Let me try. Amend condition number 6 to read, to add the following, and to allow alternative plat material to match the existing material as planted along Casino Center Boulevard.
Is that acceptable?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Very good. So my motion would be to allow the amended condition as read into the record and all the other condition as currently listed. Motion for approval.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
And
Thank you.
Commissioners Buckley and Truesdale both abstain, and all matters go forward to the City Council on April 1st.
Okay. Now, we now move to item number 30 and related items 31, 32, and 33. Item 31 is a variance 33016. The applicant owner is 11th Street Holdings, Inc., to allow 38 parking spaces and no loading zone where 96 parking spaces and one loading zone is required at the southeast corner of Stewart Avenue and 11th Street. Item number 31 is variance 33018 to allow a lot coverage of 78% where 50% is the maximum allowed, to allow no step back where a 1-to-1 step back is to height ratio is required along a street classified as a collector or larger, to allow a 7-foot front yard setback where 20 feet is required, to allow a 6-foot side yard setback where 10 feet is required, to allow a 0-foot rear yard setback where 20 feet is required, and to allow a 0-foot corner side yard setback where 15 feet is required. Item number 32 is a special use permit 33014 for proposed mixed-use development, and item number 33 is site development review 33013 for a proposed 4-story, 48.5-foot tall mixed-use development consisting of 60 residential units and 1,926 square feet of commercial space, with waivers to allow a 0-foot landscape buffer along the north and west perimeters where 15 feet is required, and to allow a 0-foot buffer along the south perimeter where 8 feet is required. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to abstain on this. These 4 items, our law firm has represented the principals of this company.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in regards to the variance, staff finds that there are self-imposed hardships and are evident of an overbuilt site. As such, the special use permit and site plan review are relying upon the variances, and staff is unable to support those and is recommending denial of all applications.
Thank you. Now I'd like to open the meeting to the public hearing. So on behalf of the applicant, we have, same as last time.
Sam Cherry, 900 South Las Vegas Boulevard. This is almost exactly the same type of product as the previous that we just brought forward. This project, I believe, is 3 blocks to the east of the Centennial Plan, and just 3 blocks east of the entertainment district and 2 blocks north of it. We're hoping for approval. We agree with the conditions on all the matters for the applications. I can comment the same way on parking. It's something where we're, again, looking for workforce housing and people to live and work in the neighborhood, and we feel confident as far as parking that we can fill those spaces, those units, without people that have cars. This is also on a bus line. The bus line is just to the north on Stewart, and walking distance to the Fremont Street Experience and all the casinos.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter? Please approach the microphone. Mr. Farlow.
Thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. On 19th Street, I lived just 3 houses off of Stewart, so I'm right into this neighborhood. And I disagree with staff on this. And the reason why, in the 2020 master plan, in some of the amendments that went with that, we wanted our area to be, what do they call that? Live work. And that's the thing. Now, on that Campage Place, or however you pronounce that, they wanted a variance on the parking, and the city made them use another lot or have a lot for standby in case it happened. That lot sat vacant, totally vacant for years and years, and I see it's now up for sale. It was never the thing. My whole thing is in the 2020, looking in the future, our cars are going to be a lot smaller. If you're going to electric cars, we're not going to have these big SUVs. We're right on the bus line here, and what we want in our neighborhood is a pedestrian-friendly thing, exactly like you're putting in the walks in the Arts District down there. That's what we want in our neighborhood. And St. Bridget's Church and that, there's a lot of stuff going on down there, new buildings and that, and hand built 3 beautiful buildings down there. I mean, but this is what we want. And this is why I disagree with staff. I think in the long term, in the 2020, looking ahead to the 2020, this is what we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion.
I had a quick question, Mr. Cherry. I see you want to go 28% more on the lot coverage that's allowed. So obviously you're aware that you're overbuilding the site. But the bottom floor is retail. The 3 floors with the 60 units, what are those all 450 square foot 1-bedroom?
Yes. Okay. The ground floor is retail, a minimal amount of retail. I believe 1,900 square feet approximately.
I think it's 1924.
Yeah. And the rest is parking and lobby area.
Why not a mix of 1 and 2 bedrooms as opposed to just 1 bedroom, 450 square foot?
And that's a great question. We what we've seen in the first 2 projects are single individuals that are living in the units that are wanting to move down here and work down here. For instance, maybe 70% of the occupants of Soho Lofts are single individuals. Some of them even ride the bus line on Las Vegas Boulevard to work, going down south to the Strip. Our focus is to have it for people that want that experience and be able to afford it on this side and stay in downtown, which that small unit translates to rents that are from the $650 range to the $900 range with the parking stall. And that's our focus. We realize the demographic that we're working with, the demographic that goes to the entertainment district. They're just looking for that that small apartment that they can afford and be in the mix of everything. And that's how we geared this project.
If approved, and if it's built, and if it doesn't pan out, do you foresee it turning into the same type of use that's to the west of you, with this apartment building that's there?
The senior housing building?
That's what it's entitled, but I don't know if that's what...
There is a current structure across the street to the west that's a senior housing project. I believe it's five stories, and it's been occupied for quite some time, I believe. Our goal is to get people to live down here, to move in this neighborhood that we see when we go out on the weekends, that come up to us and say, hey, we'd love to live down here, where can we go? And they just can't find it. And a good example is El Octane, where it's filled up. And I see the people that live there. I see them walking in the neighborhood. I see them servicing the restaurants. I see them at functions, at different art events. We want that same experience with our projects that we're bringing forward.
Okay. Thank you. I was kind of apprehensive about this, but you have your reputation's impeccable, and your projects actually do come up out of the ground, and I think based on that, I usually don't support these much overage, but I think I'll be able to support this one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
we're ready for a motion.
Move for approval of item 30, VAR 33016, subject to all staff's recommendations and condition.
Motion's made. Please cast your vote. Post. Motion carries. Item 31.
Item 31, VAR 33018, move for approval, subject to all staff's recommendations and condition.
Motion's been made. Please cast your vote. Post. Motion carries. Item 32.
Item 32, move for approval of SUP 33014, subject to all staff's recommendations and conditions.
Motion's made. Please cast your vote. Post. Item number 33.
And final item 33, SDR 33013, move for approval, subject to all staff's recommendations and conditions.
Motion's made. Please cast your vote. Post.
And all matters go forward to City Council on April 1st.
Thank you. Thank you for your consideration. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good luck and Peterbilt. We now move to item number 38 and companion item number 39. Item 38 is a variance 32995. The applicant is Amvin LLC. The owner is Becker and Sons LLC to provide 119 parking spaces where 126 are required on a parking impaired site at the southeast corner of Rainbow Boulevard and Lake Mead Boulevard. Item number 39 is a special use permit 32994 for a major amendment to an approved special use permit for a restaurant with service bar to allow a 1,000 square foot expansion of an existing restaurant. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, staff finds the requested variance to be a self-imposed hardship and recommends denial. As such, the request for special use permit cannot be conducted in a compatible and harmonious manner with the property and the surrounding property, and recommends denial of the subject item.
Thank you.
Please note we have received additional comments on this.
Mr. Chairman, our law firm does work for the property owner, so I will abstain.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. For the applicant, we have.
My name is Barry Becker, 50 South Jones, and I am the applicant. And with me is...
I'm attorney Barry Levison, 2810 South Rainbow Boulevard.
Thank you.
This is a shopping center that we have built and owned for many years. I can't actually remember how many. And staff has mentioned that this is a self-imposed variance. It's actually been imposed upon us by the widening of Rainbow. And when they widened Rainbow, when they built a center to the north and installed two left turn lanes to the west and a right turn lane on our side of the street, they took away one whole bank of parking, probably in excess of maybe 20 spaces. And during those condemnation negotiations, we had negotiated the fact that we were not supposed to be penalized for these spaces being taken away. But irregardless of that, one of the things that we always do when we come in for one of these variances, and we do have several of them in many of our shopping centers, we operate 15 centers here in the Valley, but we've been counting vacant spaces, ever since we submitted this application. And during lunchtime, when the restaurant that's actually applying for this variance is most busy, there's approximately 45 to 50 spaces vacant in the center during the lunch hour from 11:30 to 2. And during the evening hours, in our specific shopping center, we have in excess of 50 spaces vacant during the height of the dinner hour. We also share this parking lot with the Outback Restaurant. They're closed at lunchtime. There's only 2 cars in their parking lot at lunch, and we have access to that lot. And for dinner, they have 60 to 70 vacant spaces every evening. And these aren't just Monday night when it's a low night. This is every evening. And this is when both restaurants are full and have waiting lists. So, number one, I think our hardship is very valid because we lost spaces due to a street widening, and the fact that we have more than enough spaces for this restaurant to add 3 or 4 more tables. And I hope that you would vote in favor of this application as opposed to what staff is asking for.
I concur with Mr. Becker. Really, what he's doing is he's widening, putting about 1,000 square feet, but he's trying to widen the kitchen. And he's really what's going to happen if you take a look at the plans. There's only going to be about 4 more tables because as it is, it's kind of crowded in there. And he wanted to widen the kitchen, and he wanted to make it a little more comfortable in there. I don't know if you've ever been to the Peen Cow restaurant. Any of you
Great
ever
food.
been? Yeah, exactly. But if you've been to the one at this particular place, it's so packed in there that you have to stand there. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's why he's widening it. He's building and we'd like to widen the kitchen and then put only about 4 more tables in there. That's about it.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and turn over to the planning commissioners for discussion and possible motion. I live not too far from this area, and I concur with your observations and comments about the parking. It's not a big deal.
And I also wanted to say that I know Mr. Becker has lived in this community for such a long time that he's kind of written the book on shopping centers and how to do things right, and what's right for the community is right for Mr. Becker, so you will see my support as well, sir.
If I may, with regard to the previous actions, I think the city attorney can speak to any previous agreements. The issue before us is simply that the past actions, be they what they may, the applicant is proposing to add square footage, and that's the matter before us at this time. Obviously, the previous agreements were with regard to the previous square footage on the property.
Thank you. Any further explanation from the city attorney?
I concur with Ms. Wheeler that we never agreed that you could extend this as large as you wanted to. We agreed that we would take the widening of the road into consideration upon any other applications for any uses within that building.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or observations? If not, we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, on item 38, I'm going to move for approval. VAR 32995.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes.
Subject to all staff's recommendations and condition.
You bet. Post. Motion carries. Item number 39.
Move for approval of item 39, SUP 32994, subject to all staff's recommendations and condition.
Motion's made. Please cast your votes. Post.
Commissioner Goin?
I was just thinking about those people that were looking down in my plate when I was eating up there last week. That makes the restaurant, though.
And both matters go forward to council on April 1st.
Thank you. We can now move on to item number 40, which is variance 32-998. The applicant owner is Oscar Seguinas to allow a 9-foot rear yard setback where 30 feet is the minimum required for the conversion of an existing carport into a habitable space at 4460 Marlena Circle. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, the existing room addition is the result of the conversion of a permitted carport done without permit. Conversions of non-habitable space to habitable space is what precipitated the need for the variance, and as such has been deemed a self-imposed hardship. Therefore, staff is recommending denial. Please note additional letters of protest and support have been received after the publishing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to declare the public hearing open. Anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter, please approach the microphone and give your name for the record. For the applicant.
Good evening. My name is Oscar Seguenza.
Thank
I
you.
purchased this property approximately about 3 years ago. And this house, it was built in 1963, I guess. And I didn't notice this property, this addition and the conversion was made up with no permission. However, it's been paying taxes since it was built in 1969. And so that is the reason why now I'm asking for a variance.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Woolman. I actually live next door to the residence in question. Everybody here with me are neighbors in the cul-de-sac that also live there. Mr. Seguenza actually bought the property back in 2004. The previous owners had lived there for like 30 years. He bought the property and he has never lived in it since he's owned it. He's pretty much rented it out to multiple families. He built a wall through the middle of the house, rented it out to one family on one side, another family on the other side. There has been multiple families in this residence over the past 5 years. I can't even tell you how many times. Cops have been to the residence multiple times. We've seen SWAT go to the house. We've seen people get arrested there. We've seen all kinds of stuff. And there was even a drive-by shooting related to this house. The problem, I've actually spoken to Mr. Seguenza before, and I've told him our concerns and say, look, you need to check the people out that are living there. He obviously doesn't care about this. He doesn't care what the neighbors think, and he's just bringing in whoever he wants, and we just want to put a stop to it. This is one of the last great neighborhoods in Las Vegas. The reason I moved there is because it didn't look like every other cookie-cutter style house in this valley. And it's one of the greater places, and I want to keep it historic. I want to keep it nice. Families know each other, neighbors know each other, and I want my son to grow up there. I don't have a problem with him. I have a problem with the people that he lets live in the house, and I have a problem with 12 people being in the house at one time, cars plugging up the driveway all over the cul-de-sac. And thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, Roberta Baltz, 4229 Stonebridge. I was born and raised in this town. I love this neighborhood. To have somebody to put a wall up in a house and rent out all these units, and now he's going to build on again and rent it out again? This is a neighborhood. We're not an apartment building. You know, I don't understand. This is why I oppose it, basically.
Thank you. Next.
Jessica Acosta. I also live next door to him. 2 people in our neighborhood could not attend, so I brought a letter on behalf of them.
Thank you. You can give it to the clerk just for filing if you
Okay,
want
I'll
to
do
read
that.
it. Okay.
Unfortunately, I will be unable to attend this important public hearing for the variance on this property. I agree with the neighbors to keep this neighborhood as is, a single-family residential area. We moved here because it was a single-family area and we wanted to keep it that way. If I wanted to live next to duplexes or projects, I would have bought there. It is essential to the safety and well-being of our neighborhood to keep it a single-family residence. I have lived in this area since 1980, and the main reason for living here is because it is a quiet, emphasis on single, family neighborhood with pride. This area is one of the few old, well-kept areas in the city of Las Vegas, and we would like to keep it that way. These homes are beautiful, unique, rather large single-family homes, but not large enough to split in two. Housing projects and duplexes should not be placed in the middle of a single-family homes. It lowers the standards and quality of the neighborhood. Such a small dwelling can only and will only bring this kind of residents that are not suited for this neighborhood. I do not want my property to depreciate in value because of an individual who doesn't even live here, who is greedy, careless, and reckless in his decision. A careless decision as such will cause property values to plummet. I, for one, will not purchase a single home next to or near a converted duplex. There are enough slums and slum landlords already. Let's not allow them to slither into our great neighborhood. Please block this variance request from going through and save our neighborhood. Signed, Mary Volker, 1705 Parkchester Drive.
Thank you.
Okay. This is the next one.
Okay.
This one is from
I think we
W.
got the
Nitz.
message. That one opposes it also?
Yeah, this one is
And you yourself, I assume you oppose it?
absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
And he already converted it even without permission to convert it. He says he didn't, but we are there and we saw he did.
Thank you. Sir, next.
Yeah, my name is Brian Ward, and I've lived there 30-plus years, raised my family there. Now my grandkids are coming back, and we got a lot of young kids in the neighborhood. And I agree with the people ahead of me that we want to keep it the same way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next.
Excuse me, applicant, could you stand back and let them use that microphone too? Then we can occupy both mics, sir. There you go.
Yeah, my name is Lou Marshall. I live at 4410 Marlena Circle. And like they said, it's a nice, quiet neighborhood. Ever since this guy took over, we've had nothing but trouble with the police, everything. So I hope it doesn't go through.
Thank you, sir. Next.
My name's Robert McGee. I live at 4429. I live across the street from this gentleman right here. And, I've only lived in the neighborhood for 5 years, but I bought it because of what it looks like. And I want it to stay that way. So I'm also opposed to this variance.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in attendance wishing to speak?
I just want to say I've lived there for 16 years, and we just don't need it.
Okay, got you covered.
Thank you.
Okay, the applicant, you care to respond to the comments that your neighbors say?
Well, the only thing I could say is some things that they said are true, but a lot of them aren't. Is it true that I don't live there? And it's a rental property, but the property I purchased it the way it is now. I never converted it, and it is on the taxes. If you pull the records, the square footage is like 3,400 square feet. I've done a lot of work on the property because when I purchased it, it was a fixer-upper, and I've done a lot of improvements on the property. And they said, I don't care about the neighborhood, about the tenants. I never had any complaints before that the police or arrest, like the gentleman said. If I would know that, I would have done something. As far as, like he said, bringing any people, I mean, there's something that I can't control. I do take apps to the people comes over. I check their jobs. And, I mean, me as an owner, I don't want to bring any people there, but I don't know the people after they moved.
Sir, I don't mean to cut you off, but let me. A couple of things you say there bother me. Well, you say you didn't do anything on it, but we've got people that have been living in that neighborhood a number of years that witness you doing it. So I just want you to keep in mind you are being recorded on a public meeting. I hope you're telling the truth.
I am telling the truth.
But I happened to go over there myself personally yesterday, and I can't tell you. I talked with a couple of neighbors out there. I knocked on the door. Nobody answered, but I could hear people in the house. I went and knocked on your window. I actually took my own personal phone and took some pictures myself. When I knocked on the window, certainly people opened the window sheer and looked at me, and I kept motioning, open the door, I need to talk to you, I'm a city official, and nobody opened the door. Nobody opened the door.
The tenants.
The tenants. And there were a number of tenants there. And the exterior of the place was atrocious. That red 18-wheeler that you have back there with no wheels on it. You've got another Ford truck parked out there.
It is true.
The landscaping is deplorable. You can see into that cul-de-sac who cares for their home, and your home stands out just like one neighbor described it as the slum lord. And so something needs to be done with that now.
Okay, answering your question, well, I will not say that. I mean, if you said there was a tons of people, there's nothing. I mean, I got the contract, and I only rent the property to 4 people right now. There's only 4 people supposed to.
So there's 4
families or 4
families
people?
or
No,
4
people.
individual?
4 people.
So are they 2 female
There's 2
and 2 male?
Yes, sir. That's what I have in the contract. It's a mom. It's his son, her son. There's 2 couples.
There's a mom and there's her son. That's 2. Now
right,
keep
and
going.
they both have a couple. So there's 2 couples.
There's a mom and a son. That's
Right.
2. And then you say there's 2 couples.
No,
To
no,
me,
no, no.
that's 4. That equals 6.
Okay, the son moved with his mom. I mean, it's an adult, and it's married. And the mom, it's also married to another.
So now you have 2 couples. That's 4. And then
That's
the
it,
son,
that's
hold
it.
on. The son comes and he's married. Now we're back to 6.
No, sir.
I'm not caring about
It's 2 couples. It's 2 couples.
Yeah,
There's
this
only
is-
2 couples.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all I rented to.
That's very well. Thank you.
Mr.
And I think we've got enough about the land use on the record to make a decision at this point.
I just wanted to ask a couple questions for my own clarification, if I could.
It's unnecessary.
Mr., how do you say your name?
Oscar.
Oscar, okay.
Sequenza.
Mr. Sequenza, you submitted a letter in the backup materials that indicate you own the property since 2005, and you purchased it as is. I'm assuming that means that the carport was already converted.
Yes, sir.
And you indicate to fix it up and live on it with my wife and my 5 children.
That was the intention.
The people who are your neighbors, many of them have written in our backup materials, and those people who spoke this evening say that essentially the home has been divided so that it's essentially two units, two separate and distinct rental properties. Can you respond to that?
Okay, I haven't done any divisions on the property. The property is the way that I purchased. I mean, and I even present pictures of the property. I mean, I understand that multiple family or 2 units, it's 2 properties with 2 addresses, and they're, I mean, separate. There is not there. It's
Are the
how to say
utilities
divided.
separate? Are the utilities
It's
separate?
only 1 meter for water, only 1 meter for electrical. It's 1 property. But this property.
Are there 2 leases?
I'm sorry?
2 leases?
It's only 1 lease. This property, the carport, it's on the east side of the property, and they converted it in 1969. But they also made an addition to that carport in 1969. I mean, this property, and they know. They said I made all these changes, but I mean, I haven't done any changes since. I mean, but improvements on the property.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We're discussing an issue of a variance here, not living arrangements or number of people or whether you cut your grass or not, okay? So the request here is for a variance. Anybody have any discussion
I
about
just
that?
have one simple comment. Oscar, we're in an economic time where we have got to do everything we can as a community to not allow the properties to go down any farther than they are. And with you not improving this property, you're only letting these people that have worked their whole lives to suffer unnecessarily. So you will not see my support, and that's the bottom line.
Sounds like everyone's got their bite at the apple, so I think we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion on this. I just wanted to make note of a letter submitted by Mr. W. Owen Nitz, who's in opposition as well. He submitted this to the clerk. I agree with all the comments. I think it's a shame that you destroy a neighborhood that's been so stable for so long. My recommendation is to follow staff's recommendation for denial of item 40 VAR 32998.
And can we add a condition in there where staff goes back. Oh, denial. But
Okay.
can they go out there and look and see what's really going on there?
Okay, motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post.
Mr. Chairman, for educational purposes of the residents, I'd like Director Wheeler to, now that we've denied this, what's going to happen? Because here's what the neighbor's concern is. It's been denied tonight, but is it going to stay there and continue to look like that for years on in the future? Could you address that, please?
Certainly, Chairman and members of the Commission. This matter does go forward to the City Council on April 1st with the Planning Commission's recommendation for denial. That is based upon the code requirements that an application on an existing structure does go forward to the City Council. When the City Council makes their final decision, then if they approve the matter, the applicant must go forward and obtain permits and finals for the construction. If the project is denied, then it goes forward to our Code Enforcement Division to follow up and make sure that the property is brought into conformance with city codes.
Okay, I think for the record, we need to indicate that this request simply doesn't meet the variance requirements of the city. So the motion to deny is in order and it's in place. So we now move to item number 42 and companion item number, 41 and companion item number 42, which is variance 30. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Yeah, we voted it. Yeah. Item number 41 is variance 33025. The applicant owner is Local Union 525 to allow 285 parking spaces where 316 spaces are required at 750 Legion Way. Item number 42, the Site Development Review 33023, proposed 16,000 square foot addition to an existing 35,286 square foot building for a proposed 22,000 square foot building with a waiver to allow a 0-foot landscape buffer along the east perimeter where 8 feet is required. Staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, staff finds that the requested variance to be minor in nature. In addition, the requested variance for the parking use is such that the schools and the classes are based upon full attendance at full amount of time. At this location, that does not occur. The classes are staggered, and such staff is supporting the recommended variance and recommends approval. In regards to the site plan review, staff finds that it's the improvements will result in a full development at this location, will benefit the community, and will be compatible with the surrounding residential area, and will upgrade the site and recommends approval. Please note we have received additional comments after publication.
Thank you. I need to divulge that I'm going to have to abstain on this item because I am in the middle of a political campaign, and the principals in this have provided an in-kind contribution to my campaign. No cash, but in-kind. So I'll be staying out of it.
Good evening.
Good evening. Karen Richardson with the Richardson Partnership with the Architects and Land Planners for Local 525. We're at 815 Pilot Road, Suite E, Las Vegas. On the overhead, you can see the site plan, and this is just the portion of the site for the existing JATC, which is labeled existing building, the new addition to the JATC, which will provide additional classroom space, and then a new building, which is primarily for, again, classroom space, but focusing on their welding operations. If you recall, we've brought applications to you before for a new union hall and the JATC, I think going back to 2003. We do agree with staff's recommendations and conditions of approval on the variance, and I can address any questions you might have regarding that at this time.
Thank you. This item was advertised as a public hearing. Anybody here wishing to speak on this item, either for or against, please come forward.
Yes, my name is Craig Piper. I live at 4213 Caliper Drive, which is directly east of the proposal. The item number 42, I can see from the map, I had some questions regarding that. I don't have any, I think that that's pretty clear after seeing the map. I don't have any problems with that. But on item number 41, where they're actually reducing the parking spaces, I disagree with staff where it's minimal. The classes may be staggered, but there's also union activity, especially during the morning and in the evenings. During the day, it's pretty empty. But during the morning traffic and evening traffic, there's a lot of activity there, and to reduce that even by 30 spaces, they're already parking down my street, which is on Caliper Drive. So you're inconveniencing not only the members, but also the residents in that area. Legion is a wide street. There, it has parking, but coming off of Lamb Boulevard onto Harris, it seems now to be a quite convenient bypass from Lamb Boulevard. Those traveling down there, plus farther down Harris, is a high school. So in the mornings, it's heavily trafficked. And especially during those times, if you were to remove 30 vehicles from that parking place and move them out there, it is difficult during the mornings and the evenings. And so I would request opposition to that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Teddy Russell V. Also on account of the election, I have to be very, very measured and very, very cautious. I'm not running for anything at all, but I'm doing a great deal of work behind the scenes, and I anticipate running for office in the year 2010. I am well known for being a fanatic for unions. I know next to nothing about this particular project. I just popped in here an hour late. I'm the man that runs around saying, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And they say, what's that? The bosses? Oh, yeah, everybody knows me. This, to me, is a tremendously positive thing because we are going to come back bigger, better, and faster than you thought. I'm sure of that. I'm entirely in favor of this project. It should go without saying. I don't know about local concerns as far as the parking lot and as far as the gentleman that preceded me, but I'm entirely for this as a matter of principle. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I'm sure the applicant appreciates your support.
Yes, we do.
Anybody else wishing to speak this evening? Seeing no one, close public hearing. Commissioners? If there are no comments, a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion for approval of agenda item number 41, the variance, 33025.
The motion, please cast your vote. And that is approved, and that will go on to City Council. Oh, right. Item 42.
In item 42, the site development review, my motion would be for approval. My experience with this site is much like what I think the staff had mentioned earlier, or Ms. Richardson. Quite often, it's very underparked. There probably are the occasional times where it's problematic, but I think it's not that often and not that egregious. So my motion would be for approval of agenda item number 42, the site development review.
Please cast your vote. And that is approved as well. Both those items go on to City Council on March 1. April 1.
Really?
April Fool's Day.
Thank you very much. I will take the concern that the neighbor raised about the parking back to the union and make sure that they're addressing it appropriately.
Thank you.
We now move to item number 43, which is site development review, 33-117. The applicant owner is Nical Associates, LLC, who add 1,718 square feet of second floor to an existing 3,654 square foot building with a waiver of the downtown Centennial Plan streetscape and parking lot screening standards at 1112 Casino Center, South Casino Center Boulevard. Staff report, please.
Sorry about that. Although the request is appropriate for a C2 zoning site, the requested waivers of the downtown Centennial Plan streetscape, staff is unable to support those and is requesting denial on this item. Please note we have received additional comments.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to stay on this item as much as I own property in the notice area.
Thank you. Now I'd like to declare the public hearing open and invite anyone in attendance wishing to speak on the matter to approach the microphone. On behalf of the applicant, we have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Larson, 300 South 4th Street, representing the applicant. As staff had briefly summarized, what we're doing here, if I may direct you to the overhead, and if I can ask the engineer to zoom down. This is an existing building. at the corner of Casino Center and Charleston Boulevard. As you can see, there's really not much to it. It is essentially a block wall facade. What we're proposing to do is this. I'm sorry. What we're proposing to do is modify it this way. It's not really picking up well in the camera. But as you can see, we're taking the block wall facade out, replacing that with glass, adding a second story that is glass as well. There is a mistake in the staff report indicating what the square footage of the existing floor is, and that existing building is 3,028 square feet. We're adding 1,718 feet to the second story. The total square footage of the art gallery portion of the project is going to be 1,313 feet. So I don't think, and Mr. Rankin can correct me, I don't think staff has any problems with the renovations and the remodeling of the existing structure. Where we have some disagreements is on the, and it's so difficult to work this microphone, where we have some disagreements is on the streetscaping. On
Mr. Larson, those center mics ought to work.
You never pick up my voice. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Except for tonight.
Booming voice.
The existing Casino Center streetscaping was actually installed as a city project. So Casino Center actually complies with the Centennial sidewalk and landscaping requirements up to about this point here that I'm laying my pen at. So we're only talking a waiver of maybe 10 feet along the Charleston portion of the Casino Center frontage. And again, that's an existing parking lot for an existing structure. We have marked the existing block wall. In our rendering, we're showing you what we propose to replace that with, and that would be take out the existing block wall, which no one claims to be aesthetically pleasing, and replace it with a structure that would conform to that streetscape plan. Why we're asking for a waiver of the Charleston frontage is because we'd like to match the existing contours of the parking lot rather than move it back 4 feet, an additional 4 feet as staff has requested. So they sound like serious waivers, but they're really not. For the Casino Center, again, it's just this portion of the curb, and for the Charleston frontage, it's really allowing us to keep the new decorative wall where the existing decorative wall is without moving it in that would cut into the parking for this very small parking lot of an existing structure. And at that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Director Wheeler has a question for you.
Yes.
On the wall that comes along Charleston and then the corner there, are you saying that the proposal is to remove that entirely? The parking lot wall? The perimeter wall?
And for the reference of the commissioners, here's a photograph of the existing wall. Yes, no one claims that wall is aesthetically
So
pleasing.
your proposal is to remove it in its entirety?
We would remove it and replace it with a conforming structure at the existing line.
By conforming structure, that's the...
One that would meet the Centennial plan.
Oh,
At the same alignment as that existing wall.
if I'm not mistaken, that's new information from what we previously had.
That's correct. The plans as submitted indicate the wall is to remain.
If that changes your recommendation, then I'm pleased. Yeah, what we don't want to do is shrink the parking lot, because as you can tell, it's really only a 6-stall parking lot as it exists. If we bring that wall any closer, then it makes that farthest north parking space very, very difficult to get into.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question, please, through you? What's the purpose of the wall? Is it to keep people out, or I'm not? You say there's about a 10-foot portion. I think it's in the northernmost part of the site where the streetscape that the city, at the city's expense, they put that in. Are you proposing to not allow the other 10 feet? I'm assuming it'd only be like a tree or two at most.
Well, the landscaping on Casino Center conforms. The width of the sidewalk does not.
But that landscaping's already there. That's not
Correct.
something you put in. That's something the city put in.
Correct.
Okay, but in that little corner piece,
In order to maintain that curb radius for
is
the
that
corner.
is it an ingress and egress where cars come in?
No, that's the turn off of
okay.
Charleston. Our driveway is here, as you can.
Okay.
And if I can ask the engineer to zoom down. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Here's the corner we're talking about. You can see how it shrinks as it gets closer to the smaller sidewalk on Charleston. Our driveway is way back here. And the only portion of the casino center's sidewalk that we're asking for the waiver on is essentially this curvature here. Everything from essentially the light post where the stoplight is south is conforming. So it looks worse on paper than it actually is.
So the existing 4-foot wall would be removed, but that's new information, right? And you would replace that with what?
There are design standards under the Centennial Plan. We would
What
conform to
conforms?
those.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else to attend this who wish to speak on this matter? We've got cart before the horse here a little bit.
Yes, thank you. Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. Did Mr. Larson say at one time that this is going to be part of the arts deal, that was that the reason for the addition? That's one question. The other thing is, at one time, weren't they talking about putting a stadium thing or something down here?
That's a little farther west.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I was involved in that project as well.
Okay.
Yes,
Anyone else in attendance wish to speak?
Sorry.
Let's get the public hearing part out of the way.
Hi, Teddy Russell, the 5th resident of Las Vegas. Spent a huge amount of time downtown Connector Ace. I know exactly, I know this property very well. I know what they're doing. And it is non-conforming, and it does now. I like very much what they are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter? Seeing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed and turn the matter over to planning commissioners for questions, and the applicant can respond. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the support of the neighbors. And to answer Mr. Farlow's question, yes, this conversion is for the purpose of converting the existing structure into an art gallery.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or comments? If not, we're ready for a motion.
Can I ask a couple?
Okay, we'll let Director Wheeler fire away.
Since this is different, is part of your proposal the repaving of the parking? Are you going to resurface that, or?
I don't know. Frankly, I don't know.
Okay. The staff's concern was in significant portion that block wall that he very well presented it as not exactly an asset. And as you can see, staff has concerns. That's a good picture to show the pavement, that at least a slurry seal would certainly make that parking lot significantly better. As would be the removal of that freestanding pole sign that you see sitting there.
I believe my client wants to keep the sign to advertise the art gallery.
That is not that. Well, is that shown on the plan to stay or not? I can't read this. I have the small plan. So they wish to retain that, but
yes, it may not have been. Yeah, the intent would be to keep that.
It's not reflected on the site plan.
But frankly, I wouldn't want that to kill the entire project.
okay, my recommendation, based upon the information here and what the applicant has indicated, is staff would recommend an additional condition that would read to remove the existing block wall along Charleston and replace with the downtown Centennial Plan wrought iron fence, to remove the freestanding pole sign, and to slurry or repave the parking area. And restripe, yes.
In regards to the sign, condition number 9 is already addressing that. It requests the abandoned freestanding sign located at the northeast corner of the property shall be removed prior to the time application made for a building permit.
Excellent, thank you.
Your motion. Okay, we're now ready for a motion, I believe.
Mr. Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion for approval of agenda item number 43 with the, I don't know that there's any revision. Is that correct, Mr. Rankin?
The one that I read in.
What Ms. Wheeler had read in, I think the other condition was already taken care of. But with the representations of Director Wheeler, my motion would be for approval with all the conditions and the additional language that Director Wheeler mentioned.
Motion's been made. Please cast your votes. Post. Motion carries.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Does the applicant agree with the conditions? I'm sorry.
Well, since the vote's already been taken, I can't agree to the. I understood that there are three elements of the additional condition. The block wall would be replaced, the sign would come down, and the parking lot would be sealed.
The signed condition is already in there.
As condition
So
number
there's
9,
two,
so it's 2. I can't consent to number 9. I understand that is a condition of approval. I can't agree to the other conditions. I just don't have authority to do that, but I do understand that those are conditions of approval.
Okay. Thank you. You've got your opportunity before it goes to the City Council.
April 1st.
Thank you very much.
Motion's been made and cast and approved. We now move to item number 44, which is the citizens' participation. The public comments during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No subject may be acted upon by the Planning Commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Farlow?
Todd Farlow, 240 North 19th Street. I'd like an update or clarification from Margot and the staff. And that's regarding the high density downtown that we were going to have the walking
I can
thing.
do that, Todd.
Okay. But there was a parking lot, I think it was the west of the Moran Law Building. And I think at one time the city owned that, and they were talking about putting a parking garage in there. And in that, I was wondering, are they going to have monthly parking, or is that going to be hourly parking? For instance, if a person wanted to live downtown, but was going to use his car, say, once a month or twice a month, would they have an opportunity to store their car or have a monthly parking fee in that garage if it's ever built, or what's the deal on that?
Real fast, if I may, the former parking lot, you're correct, that was a former city parking lot. It's now part of the city center, I believe it's Jewel, correct? It is, that was sold to those developers as part of their project. So that parking would not be available for sale to the public, but certainly in the future, we anticipate with greater development that we will have areas for that type of shared parking that you're speaking of.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Ma'am?
Yes, Sandra Moore King, 208 North Bruce Street. This item is not on the agenda, but I'd like to address it to Commissioner Goins. Quite some time ago, I sent you some information about the Oscar development that I want to work on. Do you still support that or not? Because I'm working with some other developments, and I'm going forward to pursue a building, an office space for the Oscar development, the one that I forwarded to you in the BFA Bank downtown.
Right. I got your letter, and I also tried to call you, but this is the public hearing comment of the agenda, and we can't take any action.
Okay.
But you certainly can give me a call tomorrow, and I'll be glad to discuss it with you.
Okay, I sure will. What's a good time? Because I'm very busy.
I'm a public servant.
I know, and I'm very busy too, 24/7.
You call me anytime.
Believe me. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Next.
Hi, Teddy Russell, the resident of Las Vegas. Mr. Farlow, thank you very much for that question. That was excellent. I was very concerned and wondering about that myself. I'm always also especially concerned with anything in conjunction with Jewel, which has just turned out to be the Jewel. I just wanted to update you on what I will be doing this year. In the background, again, I will be spending a lot less time in dealing with the city of Las Vegas. I want to do a lot of work in the background concerning Henderson, Summerlin, particularly North Las Vegas. According to the President's speech during session, I'm going to go online, finish my degree at Rutgers. I think my life was most changed by meeting Bucky Buchanan and interviewing him. I would like to also attend law school at Princeton and be a defense attorney. Don't hurt me. Again, we are coming back stronger and better and faster before. What I wanted to say in the beginning was I run around saying, 2 weeks, get back to work. And then everybody laughs. And things are speeding up particularly. In my case, I thought that I would come into my majority at the age of 65 on finances and many things in that respect. I'm quite pleased but overwhelmed that I come into my majority at 62 as far as certain estates and trusts and things, and that will be April 18th. I am very happy to leave things in the good and capable hands of Mr. Todd Farlow, who has so much more expertise and has been here so much longer. I thank you all for your time, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak during the public hearing portion? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed and adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.